We're at 19921 Santa Rita Street in Woodland Hills, California, performing a video sewer inspection through the 4-inch roof vent. Apparently there is no mainline cleanout. And this is a re-inspection. It is November 19th, 2015. And we're going to check the 4-inch again. And we are also going to attempt to try and get into the 6-inch lateral to take a look and see what it looks like. And here's the 4-inch roof vent, garage area and back gate, and the backyard area. And this is the vent stack. It's kind of hard to push through here. We got a little bit of debris. Just got some buildup, rust. And right here, it was thought that this was tree roots in the line, but this is actually just debris from the tree that has fallen down into the line. There are no tree roots growing through the line. It is not broken or penetrated here. That's hair. There is some hair in there, and mostly, like I said, that's just debris, leaves and such, and whatever that has fallen off the tree that is right above this stack. Now we're transitioning right here to the clay right outside the house. And there is an area on top by the 4-inch clay, at the top of the clay, that may possibly be compromised and broken at that point. It's very difficult to see it. It is at the top of our screen. But this is an area anyhow that a mainline sewer cleanout should be installed right here. This is the point that the cleanout should be installed, so that would be fixed at that point in time. And there is a separation at that one joint right there a little bit, which is right next to where the cleanout would be. So we would also take care of that joint at the same time. That joint looks to be okay. The next clay joint, making a turn. This joint has some separation in it, but it also may have been put together this way. This was put together with rubber couplings. You can see the rubber in between, that black rubber. And sometimes we do get some separation where they put them together. This is not put together with concrete like the old pipe was. And again, that's put together with rubber couplings. That joint appeared to be okay. That joint does have some minor root intrusion right there, and a little bit of an offset right there, but it's not major. That's still maintainable at this point in time. That joint looks to be pretty tight, pretty good. That joint looks good. Now you just have some debris here, and more than likely wash through. That's hair, big old clump. And we're going to try, we are now at 43 feet. We're going to run some water after, and we're going to try and wash this through. But a lot of that's hair, and we do have a little tiny bit of debris behind it, which is flakes off from just running the camera. It's kind of hard to see that joint. That joint really doesn't look too bad. It's just you have the big old wad of hair and debris right there. So at 43 feet, we're going to try later. Try and get into the 6-inch, we have to run a lot of water. And here you have a little minor offset. That's not major at this point. There's no break in it. There's no heavy root intrusion. That's still maintainable. That joint looks to be in good condition. Making another turn. And that joint looks to be in good condition. And now we're making another turn. It's another sharp turn. And that joint looks to be in good condition. And we've got flaking. You just got some, when you start running by for quite some time, you're going to get flaking off the cast iron. And this happens periodically anyways. Even when someone is living in the house all the time, you're going to get a little bit of debris, and that'll wash through. That joint's got a minor offset. That is not major. There's no break in the line. That's still maintainable. It's very possible that these joints were put together this way. They don't always line up perfectly. Same thing, has some offset. Again, it is a rubber coupling, and they're saying that we're dropping down drastically. It's not as drastic as what it appears. That's only maybe about 1/2 to 3/4 of an inch at the most. A lot of offsets in sewer lines like this, in clay lines. There's no break in the line. There's no heavy root intrusion in the line. Again, we have an offset. And they're shifted. And cannot say that they're shifted because of roots. If the roots are pushing the pipe over that much, generally they're going to break the pipe, and they're also going to enter the joint. And you're going to have heavy root intrusion. Now we're making this draw very difficult to try and get through. And that is the rubber from the band at the bottom that you're seeing there. You got some rubber protruding, and can't top of the joint real well when you're in this turn. Could be a little bit of an offset right there, but again, like I said, it's difficult to tell. Difficult to get past mark or 75-foot mark. We're going to go down and we're going to run an extreme amount of water through here, which may help us float this camera all the way out, is what we're going to attempt to do to try and get into the city sewer. And we will return in just a moment. A lot of water running in the house right now to try and help us float this camera out all the way into the city sewer if we can. Okay, we've gotten past that point. Now we're running out, and hopefully we should be able to get into the city sewer and see the condition of the entire lateral. Okay, that is the turn to the city sewer right here, and that is the tie-in connection dropping in. So what we're going to do is we're going to go out and mark this, and then we're going to come back in and pull back slowly and take a look at the 6-inch lateral. Okay, this is our city sewer running through, as you can see, and we've marked this area at 6 foot 10 inches deep, and now we're going to pull back and take a look at a 6-inch lateral all the way back to the property line. So you have no water running here, and then we just get in a little bit further, see the city sewer running through. That joint looks to be in good condition. We couldn't really see what it looked like on the way out because we had to push very fast and very hard. That joint looks to be in good condition. That joint looks to be in good condition. This appears to be the newer style 6-inch lateral with the rubber neoprene couplings and stainless steel bands. It's not the old style hub and spigot that had concrete joints poured. Looks to be in good condition. A little bit of debris on the joint. That joint looks to be in good condition. These joints all appear to be fairly tight. Now we're pulling back up. That joint looks to be in good condition. We're pulling back up the stack, and we should transition to the 4-inch now. And then we transition right here as we drop down in. We're dropping down into the 6-inch. We have a little bit of excess rubber right there at the joint. But as far as I can see, the joint looks fine. No root intrusion, no major breaks. Pulling back in the 4-inch. And we look good here. That joint has an offset. Again, it could have been put in that way. There are no trees right in that area. Approximately 40 feet away from where this part of the sewer line runs, where the 4 to 6-inch transition area is. And as I said, that these joints may have been offset for many, many years. And generally, if there's heavy root intrusion, really pushing these fittings and these lines around, there are going to be cracks, there's going to be breaks at the joints, heavy root intrusion, and we don't have anything like that. This one's offset here again. It's possible there could be a little bit of root movement on the pipe, but no breaks. We have no root intrusions at these joints, so it's very difficult to say whether there's any root movement at all on these pipes whatsoever, or just the way that they were put together. In the bands, this debris will wash through in time. Just even though the amount of water that we have going through isn't going to push this debris through that easily. It's going to take quite a bit of water and just time to push it through. That joint looks fine. That fitting looks good. That joint looks fine. That joint looks fine. That joint, shifted a little bit. It's got some offset. But again, we have no break. We have no root intrusion whatsoever at these joints. That one again has some shifting in it. That one looks like maybe some minor root intrusion possibly, or just debris. On the left-hand side, there could be a little bit of root intrusion on that joint. So there could be a little bit of leaking on that band, and it could possibly be pushed a little tiny bit by roots. But in very good condition. From the property line to the city sewer. The 4-inch does have some offsets in it. That joint looks fine. That joint looks fine. Root intrusion it looks like on this joint. Yeah, it looks like it may be seeping a little bit, and it is offset a little bit, but definitely maintainable at this point. That joint has some minor offset. That joint looks fine. That joint has some separation in it. Intrusion at that point. Again, it could have been just put together that way. And this is the cast iron to clay area. We're going to run back. That's at 25 feet. We're going to run back to that 43-foot mark where we were, where heavy root intrusion and all the buildup and everything else. And I believe that washed right through. That whole area pretty much cleaned up. That's where we were before, with all the hair and the debris. It just takes time to wash it through, as all that stuff will wash right through. So we'll pull back to 25 feet now, where the cast iron and the clay is. We're actually dragging hair right there. The hair didn't push all the way through. Pull back to 25 feet, where we have the cast iron to clay. It's very difficult to see. Can't see if there's a break in that top area. We don't have any root intrusion in this area, so I don't know for sure. It may not be a break right there, but this is where a mainline cleanout should be installed. We're going to go down and then that would take care of that. We've marked this area where the 4-inch clay meets the 4-inch cast iron. Just outside this rear door, it's outside the rear door that is closest to the side street. It is on the middle west end of the house. So now and this is where the mainline cleanout should be installed. And you would be able to rectify this problem if there is an issue with the cast iron. It's really hard to say. And also this one separation that you have here, which we don't have an issue. There's no breaks in the line, there's no root intrusion, but I would still replace that one section while you were out in. And that joint looks fine beyond that. Now we're pulling back through the iron waistline in the house, and there's a ball of hay. And there's all the debris at the bottom of the vent that's fallen down in the vent. There are no root intrusions in the cast iron. It is not broken. And now we're pulling back up through the vent. And the vent joints look to be in good condition at this point. The tar on the inside of the cast iron on the vent is just chipping and cracking over, but vent looks good. And that concludes our video sewer inspection.